Inside the U.S. Army's AI-powered tank, the future of autonomous combat vehicles. DARPA just tested an autonomous tank that could help keep soldiers safe, and even more self-driving military vehicles are on the horizon. If autonomous vehicles prove capable enough for the battlefield, the tech could someday start finding its way over to civilian uses, too. The challenge: tanks have played an important role in the U.S. military for more than 100 years, thanks to their tremendous firepower and armor. But every time the Army puts a soldier into a tank and sends them into combat, it's putting their life at risk. Even if the tank is never attacked by an enemy, there's some evidence that simply firing a tank can cause brain damage for the operators inside, potentially leading to problems with cognition and mental health. An autonomous tank. In 2020, DARPA launched the Robotic Autonomy in Complex Environments with Resiliency (RACER) program to develop algorithms capable of controlling tanks and other off-road military vehicles. In March 2023, it completed the first tests of these algorithms in uncrewed racer fleet vehicles, RFVs, which look like seriously souped-up four-wheelers. Now, it has started testing them in a larger, tank-like vehicle it's calling the Racer Heavy Platform, RHP. The first tests of DARPA's autonomous tank took place at military training areas in Texas at the end of 2023, according to a press release. During them, the vehicles drove themselves for more than 30 miles in an autonomous route-following mode. This gave DARPA researchers the opportunity to collect sensor data, test the racer algorithms in a new vehicle, and assess the RHP's mobility over complex terrain. These activities are setting the tone for the program to achieve tougher autonomous maneuver goals while showing autonomy, resiliency, and adaptability to new environments on any robot at any scale, said Stuart Young, Racer Program Manager. The 12-ton, 20-foot-long RHP is small compared to a U.S. military tank. The 42-ton M10 Booker is considered a light tank, but DARPA says the research platform is similar in size to autonomous combat vehicles that are in development. Its plan now is to continue testing and developing the autonomous tank throughout 2024, conducting 2 more field experiments before the end of the year. The big picture: tanks aren't the only vehicles the U.S. military wants to automate. While the Racer program focuses on ground vehicles, another DARPA program, ACE, is developing an AI fighter pilot. It just controlled a jet during a real dogfight scenario. Meanwhile, DARPA's Manta Ray program is developing an autonomous underwater drone that could be used for surveillance. A full-scale prototype of it just completed its first in-water testing off the California coast in February and March 2024. There has been a revolution in the techniques and capabilities of uncrewed ground vehicles. Kevin O'Brien. More autonomous ground vehicles are coming too. In April 2024, the Army teamed up with the DoD's Defense Innovation Unit, DIU, to launch the Ground Vehicle Autonomous Pathways, GVAP, project. They've partnered with 8 private companies to develop software capable of controlling military vehicles on the ground. There has been a revolution in the techniques and capabilities of uncrewed ground vehicles occurring in the private sector over the past 2 decades, said Kevin O'Brien, Technical Director for the DIU's Autonomy portfolio. We're eager to bring these matured technologies back into the Department of Defense. The U.S. Army is set to test a company of unmanned combat vehicles as part of a series of mock battles. The war games will see old M113 armored personnel carriers retrofitted to become autonomous. General Ross Kaufman, the director of the U.S. Army Futures Command's Next Generation Combat Cross-Functional Team, announced the plans at this year's annual meeting of the Association of the U.S. Army, reports Defense One. The tests aim to help define both hardware and software the Army could use in wheeled robots on the battlefield. No antecedent for robotic tanks. General Kaufman told a press gathering that the closest thing to this simulation was a test conducted at Fort Carson, Colorado, last year. There, modified M113 were again retrofitted to become robotic combat vehicles. The U.S. Army is now seeking to create an entire company of such vehicles. The lessons learned from the Fort Carson test have allowed Kaufman's team to see how we want to fight with these things in the future, he said. I know of no country that has done above singular vehicle experiments. So, no antecedent. The likes of BAE Systems, General Dynamics, and Oshkosh Defense have been tasked with designing prototype unmanned combat vehicles for the U.S. Army. Any design must conform to an open systems architecture that can accommodate third-party software and sensors. Robots with guns. Armed robots are nothing new. Just a few weeks ago, Ghost Robotics revealed a new version of its four-legged vision robot, complete with a 6.5mm rifle fixed atop it. Ghost Robotics has previously developed quadruped robots with bomb disposal attachments, including a shotgun-like apparatus for disabling IEDs. Back in April, the NYPD had to terminate its $94,000 contract with Boston Dynamics after drawing criticism for using a robot named Digidog during routine arrests, as well as potentially failing to disclose its partnership with the robotics firm. The NYPD used the civilian model to send food into hostage situations. The robot was also fitted with an arm so that it could open doors and move objects. Boston Dynamics, which developed the Digidog, was initially funded by the US military, but eventually ended up being owned by Korean multinational Hyundai. Its rivals in the robotics industry, from Fleur, which acquired iRobot's military arm in 2019, to Sphero spin-off company 6, to weapons manufacturer Northrop Grumman, are also eyeing lucrative police contracts. With surplus military equipment transferred to the police under the federal government's 1033 program, more than 280 police agencies have been given robots, according to a 2016 study from Bard University. Following the termination of the Boston Dynamics contract, New York City Councilman Ben Kallos introduced legislation to ban the NYPD from using weaponized robots. The Russian Aramta T-14 could be among the first of such autonomous or self-driving tanks, but so far the automation falls short of a true Terminator-style weapon. It does feature a remotely operated turret, while the crew sits lower in the tank. The eventual goal for the Russian military is to remove the crew completely and have the tank controlled remotely, but even that isn't exactly a fully autonomous fighting vehicle. Similar efforts are also underway in the United States. The US has already developed various autonomous and semi-autonomous land systems, which are undergoing further development, said John Hernandez, senior industry analyst for aerospace, defense and security at Frost & Sullivan. One key program is the Army's Next Generation Combat Vehicle, NGCV, Hernandez told the National Interest. Part of that program includes technology maturation initiatives for advanced lethality and accuracy systems for medium-caliber weapons. Under those initiatives, there is one particular project in the works titled the Advanced Targeting and Lethality System, ATLAS, that better describes some of Army's AI effort. Hernandez noted the recently published FY 2021 budget documents.